Welcome, first graders. So today, the first thing that you got to do is make sure that all three of your circles are decorated, designed using lines that basically go out in what we call a radial pattern. So lines going from the center out, and different designs in all three, or the same one in all three, whatever you decided to do. So anyway, we have these circles. After we design them, then we cut them out. Um, and so you'll notice that I cut them out and I stayed right on that black line or that outline. And so try to do your best with that. And then what we need to do is kind of figure out the order. So I have it going from big, medium to the smallest one. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the middle one and we're going to put that off to the side, and we're not going to do anything with that today. The other two, what we're going to do is work on our dexterity and our hands and kind of building up some strength. So you're going to pretend that this is a piece of paper that you just tore out of a notebook that you maybe made a mistake on or that you no longer need. Things change when you take time to draw a circle, paint it, then decorate it, then cut it out. You have a little bit more attachment to it. So think of it as a piece of paper you just tore out that you did maybe a bad drawing on. And what I want you to do is I like to kind of take it with one hand, put it on one side, and then I kind of push in with my other hand like this. And what we're going to do is gently crinkle it up into the smallest ball that we can make. Okay. Now, once it's in our crunkled up ball form, we're going to very carefully try to pull it apart. Okay. We don't want to tear it. Now, if you end up with some tears along the edge of them, that's not a big deal. If you end up with a tear along the middle, then just let an adult know at home and they can put some tape on the backside. All right, so I'm very carefully opening it. Okay. And what I want you to notice is that when you started out and it was like this, it was very stiff. Now, the second time that you do it, it's going to be a lot easier to crunch up into a ball. But I want you to try to do it in a different way, all right, different folds. And that's why it's important to open it up every time all the way. So I did it now twice. And you're going to do it 2 more times for a total of 4 times. Okay, again, opening it all the way up and then crunching it again. Every time it should be easier. Okay, and you want to try to get that small ball. And you'll notice every time not only does it get easier, it gets softer. So we are taking that stiff, thick paper and we are kind of breaking up those fibers or what holds the paper together. Okay, so that 4th time we should be able to get an even smaller ball than we had originally. And when we're done with it, we're going to open it up and flatten it out. Okay. So when we bring the medium one and we put it next to the large one, you're going to notice also a change in what we call texture. So this one's very flat, very smooth. This one's now kind of bumpy. The wrinkles create a rough feel to our hands, and that is how we change the texture from one to the other and how we would describe texture being different. So we're going to move this back off and we're going to bring in our small. What we're going to do with this one is we're going to crunch it up the same way. Again, being careful because the small one sometimes is easier to tear, but we want to try to make it an even smaller ball. Okay, so I ended up with that. And sometimes with a small one, it's almost like we're folding it. Make sure that you try to get it into your palm and you really crunch it instead of folding. So folding is like a taco. That's folding. We want to crunch. Okay, so this one you're going to do 4 times 2. Tiny ball. And the last time. Okay. So the big one has had 4. The small one has had 4. And the medium one we are not going to do anything with. So now we're going to play with texture in our next week's step. And you can stack them like this, one being wrinkled, one being flat, and the third being wrinkled. All right. That is today's lesson.